Welcome back to my views and news. Some new stories for you. First one is about rumors that Fano is trying to acquire weapons from abroad. Speculations are being made after the visit of an Amhara Popular Front official to a country. Who is this APF, Skandernaga's APF leader? Which country is he visiting these days? And is there any convincing evidence? Does Fano really want to have weapons from abroad? Secondly, viewers, Orthodox Church of Ethiopia is going to speak just after a few minutes, I think. Preparations have been made after what happened in Mekelle yesterday, where doors of a church were closed on the patriarch when patriarch and other accompanying archbishops tried to enter the church. Doors were closed. And then he visited an IDP center there. What happened there? Thirdly, was Turkish drones back in the news in this region. Last year, we were talking about last year, and in 2021, we did lots of videos about the deployment of Turkish drones in Ethiopia. Turkish drones wrapped up the war in Ethiopia. We saw that. I covered it extensively. And now Turkish drones are going to be introduced in Ethiopian neighboring country Sudan, where a war is ongoing. On the 15th of April, the war broke out. Largely a stalemate there. Rapid support forces, though, have some advantage on the ground, but now Sudanese military has decided to resort to Turkish drone support. Same happened in Ethiopia. Tigray forces had significant military leverage. They had taken control of Wollo, North Wollo, South Wollo. They were on their way towards Addis Ababa. Then Turkish drones came into the picture. Details for you. How many drones have been ordered by Sudanese military? Has Sudanese military acquired some drones, or just orders have been placed? Firstly, viewers, does Fano want to acquire weapons from abroad? Fano factions do need weapons, small arms, because their insurgency, the type of insurgency which they have waged is that it's a type of guerrilla war. So they need small arms. They don't need tanks. They don't need artillery pieces. They need small arms. Maybe some reconnaissance drones too, which can be converted into drones able to carry out strikes, but mainly reconnaissance drones. Since this insurgency in the Amhara region is expected to continue for a long time if there is no intervention, that is why Fano fighters are trying to be fully armed. David Georges is APF's foreign relations officer in charge of foreign affairs of Amhara Popular Front. Amhara Popular Front was established by Skandernega, a former politician, head of Baldera's party. He founded this armed organization around 2 months ago, I think. And he appointed David Georges as the head of foreign affairs. David is based in the US. He is a former Derg officer. When Dergs were in power, he was a top official. I think he worked as governor of Eritrea too. Back then, Eritrea was part of Ethiopia. He has military background too. And a few days ago, we saw that he led a fundraising campaign in the US where around 400,000 US dollars were raised in just 3 hours. Ethio 360, other outlets and journalists were part of the fundraising campaign. After US, now he has arrived in Israel. In Israel, Ethiopian Jews live. And most of Jews from Ethiopia who live in Israel, they are from Gondar. And they are Amharas reportedly. These Jews are working with Israeli military and intelligence departments too. Why is David Georgius in Israel? What is the agenda of his visit? David confirmed his arrival in Israel, and in his tweet he said that he was in Israel to tell Israeli government about Rammama. He managed to reach the foreign minister of Israel. He held a meeting with Israeli foreign minister. He himself has shared pictures of his meeting with Israeli foreign minister. So David has so many connections that he can reach Israeli foreign minister. He is saying that he is in Israel to tell Israeli government that Oromo is an anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish policy, and it is a threat to Ethiopia, to region, and to the world, and it leads to ethnic cleansing. Amharas are suffering because of this Oromo anti-Semitic policy. He is trying to compare what happened to Jews. The Jews were massacred because of a feeling of ethnic superiority by Hitler and his allies. And that same is happening in Ethiopia, that Oromos have this ethnic superiority. So they want to kill Amharas. False parallels, by the way. That is my understanding. This is what he said. What is his real agenda? He could be there to get donations from Amharas. As I said, that Ethiopian Jews live in Israel. They are from Gondar, they are Amharas. So obviously they would be ready to support Skandar Naga's APF. He could collect some donations. Apart from that, rumors going around that he could be negotiating with the Israeli government, Israeli retired and serving generals for purchase of weapons. Now, it's difficult to confirm or reject this rumor. Israeli government has been involved in supplying of weapons to African countries. In the past few years, it is on record that Israel has supplied weapons to Chad, to Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, Seychelles, Cameroon, Rwanda, Uganda, South Africa, and several other countries too. But those weapon transfers were state transactions. Weapons sold by Israeli government to these governments. Did Israel provide weapons to some anti-government groups in Africa? I don't know. I have no evidence. David could try to negotiate with Israelis to get support. It is alleged that Israelis support Ethiopian government in the start of Tigray war. They provided reconnaissance support to Ethiopian government. Back then, if you remember, some meetings were held between Ethiopian government officials and Israeli intelligence officials, though we never saw any convincing evidence. It seems thou Georgius is on an agenda. He's on a mission while he is in Israel. So we'll see the outcome of his visit in coming months and weeks perhaps. Let's see, will he announce any fundraising in Israel, and will he announce his other engagements too? He definitely has connections. That is why he managed to reach Israeli foreign minister. Fano, if it wants to continue its armed resistance, needs weapons. Fano, Amhara shares border with Sudan. Western zone, Western Tigray, Volkayat under Amhara control. Both Eritrean and Sudanese soils can be used for weapon transfers if Israel agreed. Israeli retired generals agreed to sell weapons to David. Reportedly, David is trying to ensure logistics for Fano. Logistics include weapons too. And he has military background, he has knowledge, he has expertise. There is no other top Fano official who has the background like David Georges. That is why it is being said that he could be in talks with Israeli government officials for logistical support for Fano fighters. But we'll try to monitor his activities and update in coming videos. Secondly, viewers, Orthodox Church is going to issue a statement after a few minutes. Reportedly, preparations have been made. The statement is about what happened in Mekelle yesterday, where the Patriarch and the Archbishops visited Tigray region of Ethiopia. Though we saw that doors of a church were closed on them, they tried to enter St. Michael parish, but they were not allowed to enter. Door to the church was closed, so they offered prayer outside the church. Then the Patriarch and his colleagues and some other government officials, not government officials, some Ethiopian notables like the Tulo, they visited an IDP center close to Mekelle. And there they met with slogans, met with posters, met with banners displaying writing against archbishops like Abune Abraham, Abune Petros. Their crossed pictures were displayed by the refugees. And some refugees said that they don't want to be part of the Orthodox Church of Ethiopia. They want to be part of Minbar Islam. They spoke. Abune Matis showed restraint, very calm. He just heard what refugees said. Refugees told their stories. He was just listening. He is back now in Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital. And after a few minutes maybe, we could see a statement from the church. Obviously, the church elders were humiliated. They were not allowed to enter a church. It shouldn't have happened, I think. Tigray archbishops shouldn't have closed the church doors. I said that last night too, that Tigray archbishops should take a position. Do they want to be part of the main church or not? They should take a position, they should talk. And the Patriarch yesterday called for dialogue. He said talks should be held, dialogue should be held. If archbishops have concerns, complaints, yes, they have right to express. Boycott is not a solution. If Tigray can happily receive 20 million birds from the church, at least it should talk to the church elders too. We're waiting for the official passer from the church. We'll try to update in coming videos. Thirdly was Turkish drones back in the news. These Turkish drones wrapped up several global conflicts. And I have been covering almost all these major global conflicts. When I was covering Libya war, we saw there was a stalemate between GNA and LNA. GNA was under pressure because LNA had surrounded Tripoli, the capital of Libya. Then came Turkish drone support. Turkey sent its forces to Libya. It deployed its TB2s to support GNA. And LNA, which was surrounding Tripoli, was pushed back towards Egyptian border. GNA managed to survive because of Turkish drones. Then came Azerbaijan-Armenia war. Azerbaijan definitely used Turkish drones, Turkish TB2s, Turkish drone operators. They were there in Azerbaijan. And these Turkish TB2 drones, they devastated Armenian military, Armenian tanks, artillery pieces. They were unable to move. Their air defense systems were outdated and they could not counter this drone attack. And we saw gradually that Azerbaijan managed to take back territories. In Ethiopia, Tigray fighters entered Amhara Far regions in July 2021. They captured Wollo, North Wollo, South Wollo, towards Addis Ababa. Their march was ongoing. They were in Oromia Special Zone, North Shore Zone of the Amhara region. They had captured 4 Waradas in Afar. They were saying there was no one between them and Addis Ababa. Then between them and Addis Ababa came Turkish TB2s. And movement of Ethiopian, movement of Tigray fighters, convoys became impossible because the tanks, artillery pieces, they were precisely hit by these drones. And drones don't come alone, their operators come as well. They know how to use these drones. Now, another introduction of drones in a conflict, Turkish drones. Sudanese civil war broke out in April. On the 15th of April, Rapid Support Forces attacked General Command Headquarters. They were hoping that quickly they would take control of General Command Headquarters and they would arrest Burhan. SAF managed to repel this first offensive, but SAF has been under pressure. Sudanese armed forces. RSF now in control of large parts of Khartoum, Central, Bari, Rahman, Darfur, Kordofan too. And now Turkish drones are being deployed. Sudanese military has acquired 50 Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drones. It is being reported by some experts. Sudan ordered 150 drones. This number is being shared by experts, though I find this number a bit hard to believe because the cost of one TB2 is around $6 million. Can Sudanese military afford to buy 150 drones or 50 as well? Because Ethiopia bought a few, I think. Ethiopia bought, I think, less than 10. And that less than 10 drones change the battlefield picture. So it is being claimed that Sudan has acquired 50 TB2s. It's difficult to verify, but if 50 Turkish drones have arrived in Sudan to support Sudanese military, we could see rapid battlefield changes. And there would be Turkish drone operators too in Sudan. These drones don't come alone because operators know Turkey obviously will train Sudanese operators too, but in the battlefield, Turkish drone operators would be in charge, like we saw in Libya, in Ethiopia, in Azerbaijan, Armenia war. We are waiting for visual confirmation. No visual confirmation so far about the presence of these Turkish TB2 drones in Sudan, about some ammunition used by them, about their flights. We confirmed their presence in Ethiopia through satellite images, through munitions used by them, MML. Same confirmation is missing from Sudan. But this new story indicates that Sudanese military has decided to use Turkish drones. These drones are known for ending wars in a few days and weeks. Let's see what happens. Thank you for watching.